This one's gonna be a long one, okay? So bear with me. Ruben Nielsen and Taika Waititi were being interviewed for Dazed Magazine. Ruben Nielsen, in case you don't know, he is of Hawaiian and New Zealand European descent. He's the frontman of a band called Unknown Mortal Orchestra. If I'm totally honest, I really don't know who Unknown Mortal Orchestra is. And I got the Mint Chicks, which is the old band he used to be a part of, confused with the Kids of 88, which is a different New Zealand band. Crazy Yes, Dumb No is a freaking tune, and boy, I remember that on C4. And Taika Waititi, he is of Māori and Russian Jewish heritage. He directs like short clips like Boy and Hunt for the Water People, and another video called Thor Ragnarok that no one really saw. It was freaking awesome, and I love it, and I hope the whole world loved it because it reinvented Thor, and it was freaking amazing. And in this interview, Ruben and Taika share their experiences growing up in Aotearoa as brown boys and how they're finding living in the US with the current political climate. Taika goes on to say this, and I quote, "Nah, it's racist as I mean, I think New Zealand's the best place on the planet, but it's a racist place. People just flat out refuse to pronounce Māori names properly." This is after interviewer Alex Denny said they, I say they because I don't know if Alex Denny is male or female, they have an idealized vision of New Zealand as like Australia, but without the racism and blokish sense of humour. I say Taika's right. New Zealand is racist, and at times racist as Duncan Garner's journalist, political editor, TV host of a program here in New Zealand, and I have to say that, to be honest, we're all a little bit racist. We're all guilty of it, and I'll give that to you, but not to the point where I actually believe in racist rhetoric. I try to be a better person going to sleep at night than I was the person that woke up. Taika isn't sabotaging New Zealand. He's using his platform to hold up a mirror and show us the ugly truth. I'm happy that Kanoa Lloyd, who's also a broadcaster that's also a part of the same network as Duncan Garner, that she called out Duncan on his book. At least at the end of Duncan's little rant, he noted that 3 white people can't be having the conversation about racism. Yes, you're right, because 99% of the time, white people are the ones being racist. Mispronouncing Māori or non-English names and words. Most obvious one that I found within the media itself is, up until 2016, Radio Hauraki was intentionally mispronouncing Hauraki. They were calling themselves Radio Hauraki for branding and marketing, and it wasn't until former host Alex Behan, MVP, called them out for f***ing up the pronunciation, and Pare Hauraki, the iwi, held meetings with NZME, the parent company of Radio Hauraki, and persuaded them to properly pronounce Hauraki. Homai te pakipaki, everyone. And if I am honest, again from my own personal experiences, for a majority of my life I've mispronounced place names here because I was just conditioned to think that way in this, dare I say, white society. I've grown up saying Manukau instead of Manuko, Papakura or Kura instead of Papakura, Onihanga. Okay, there's a U there, it's actually pronounced Onehunga. Mangere instead of Mangere, Taranaki instead of Taranaki, Mount Cook instead of Aoraki. But it doesn't matter, it's just a name. If I mispronounce your name, you'd want to correct me. It's Sarah, not Sarah. It's Van Gogh, not Van Gogh. It's Camembert, not Camembert. It's Devita, not Tavita.
Your name is Toby. You're going to learn to say your name. What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
Hey, at least they're making an effort, sort of, in the UK, pronouncing my man Taulupe Faletau as Taulupe instead of Toby.
And then saying his name Taulupe, it's hard for the friends and the teachers to say, and he just said, "Oh, just call me Toby." Jason Taumalolo, one of the best rugby league players in the world right now. His name by birth is Vai Taumalolo, Vai. Probably the name of one of his great ancestors. Apparently his primary school teacher kept saying his name wrong, so she ended up calling him Jason. He took his report card home and it said Jason, and his poor mother asked, "Go hire Jason." My mother would have said the same thing as well, because that is not the name
that we gave you. I don't know if you've noticed, but that's racist. Even though Jason probably just laughed it off because he was young, he was a kid, but that's racist. Intentionally mispronouncing non-English words is racist because it implies that you, the person doing the mispronouncing, cannot be bothered, or it's beneath you, or it implies superiority to others. And this is ironic coming from me, because one of my most viewed videos on YouTube is me instructing you on how to properly pronounce Matema Tonga players' names by mispronouncing some of their names. Racism is alive and well in New Zealand, and in the past few months I've seen first-hand racism happen right in front of me. One time a friend and I were out in town and we noticed a male of African descent get punched in the face by a male of Middle Eastern descent. Cops were there within seconds because they were like, I don't know, it's town. Maybe the African dude did say some dumb to get knocked out. The guy that got assaulted also got arrested. Unlugios. Another time I was at the supermarket and I saw a 4-wheel being driven by what looked like an Indian woman, and she was waiting for another car that was reversing out of the spot that she wanted so she could move in. So when they stopped, they blocked the car behind them from moving on, and that car behind them was being driven by what was probably a Māori or Pacific woman, and she got angry and started blasting the horn, rah rah, and then all of a sudden just pulled up beside and turned down her window and screamed, "Curry muncher," and then drove off. And I'm not gonna lie, I got offended because I love curry too, and how dare that Māori or PI woman assume that only Indian people like eating curry. I freaking love curry. And also, not to forget, how many people on social media were telling us Tongans to go back to Tonga during the Rugby League World Cup last year. 2017, when Tonga got world beaters, got the best of the best. That didn't benefit Australia or New Zealand. So we're told that we should appreciate being nurtured here in New Zealand and Australia by only representing them. In 2016, 4 white kids stole almost $80,000 worth of fishing and marine gear for the thrill of it. They only got home detention and were ordered to pay reparations, while Thomas Tofa and David Leaf stole trout to feed their whānau, and they got prison time. Yes, the 4 young men are young men of course, and their lives can't be dictated because they decided to do something stupid. But when you put Tofa and Leaf in prison, how can they better provide for their whānau there? When they do get out of prison, and I think they already are out, and apply for jobs, 9 times out of 10 when they tick the "have you been convicted of a crime" box on their job app, they wouldn't even be considered. So again, how is jail time gonna help them? But then again, the judicial system is racist, and it's an institution built by white men to benefit white men like Duncan Garner, who went off at the bird Taika because they're stupid. And growing up my whole life here in New Zealand, I'm freaking jumping in between Taika and Taika because I'm freaking insecure about how I say stuff. That's f***ed up. In 2016, the Ministry of Education refused to include the Māori land wars in the national curriculum, omitting this important part of our history amidst a huge part of why a lot of Māori are disenfranchised to this day. And the illegal land confiscations by the New Zealand government at the time were actually land grabs. They stole it. Māori at the time were like, not having it. They were like, we've already given you enough land. That's all you get. And you're like, no, we want more. We want more land for the rest of the people coming. In 2015, as part of my degree, one of our compulsory papers called Intercultural Communication. Love that paper, kind of. I was in a class with a white tutor who was lovely, by the way. She's friggin' awesome, and I love her. Me and 2 other people were the only non-Caucasians in our class. Just me, a guy who's Tongan Palangi, and an Indian girl. Everyone else was white. So it was interesting listening to my classmates give presentations on racism and stereotyping. When it was my turn to be part of a presentation, I'd ask the class, raise your hands if you're familiar with the Dawn Raids. No one raised their hand but my tutor. And to be honest, my heart sank. One of the most racist parts of New Zealand history hadn't been taught in class. And in case you're wondering, the 70s and 80s were just, if you were brown in New Zealand, that's just a terrible time to be brown. Even Māori were being mistaken for being Pacific and asked about if they were overstaying in their own country. Hence the formation of the Polynesian Panthers to inform our kakai. And don't get me started on Māori TV doing Jonah from Tonga, Jonah from Tonga, Jonah of Tonga. I'll cover that in another video. But we celebrate different cultures in New Zealand. Yes, we do. We celebrate how diverse New Zealand is. And off the top of my head, here in Auckland, we have the Lantern Festival, we have Polyfest, we have Pasifika, we have the International Festival that just finished last week, we have Matariki, my friends celebrate Ramadan, Diwali, and that's just what I could name. And for that short time, while those events are on, it's so cool to wear your tupenu, your whaikanga at Polyfest or Pasifika. But I get asked sometimes, why you wearing your tupenu now? Polyfest was like 2 weeks ago. Why are you still wearing your tupenu? Freaking comfy, damn it. And I love wearing my tupenu. If my Sikh bro can rock a turban with pride, then I can wear my tupenu with pride too. That just, to me, goes to show that we have a long way to go here in New Zealand. I'm still not loved for being not of the status quo. I'm still not loved for being different here in this country. I hate being followed in shops when I walk in. I hate hearing you're pretty smart for a Tongan. I hate that Māori are homeless in their own country. I hate that when I was 12, my Palangi neighbours couldn't be bothered to properly pronounce my brother's name, which is Lota, by the way. Very simple. So they called him Tommy. I hate that some white people don't want their kids taking compulsory Māori language classes with English and maths because it's of no use outside of New Zealand. But they're the same people that get upset when we correct them and say it's taupo, not taupau. And I hate that it's 2018 and the colonizers get upset when the disenfranchised natives hold up the mirror and they don't like the truth that they see. If I were Charlemagne the God, I'd give you Donkey of the Day, Duncan Gunn, and anyone else who disagrees with Taika Waititi. So, is New Zealand racist? Yes, it's racist. And sometimes it's racist as Now, the question is, how can we embrace our differences instead of letting them push us apart?